Dana White's Contender Series 2025, week number 1. This is the weigh-in recap show, full card predictions, and the betting breakdown. I'm looking forward to talking about each of the matchups on this Contender Series card. So make sure you guys smash the like button. If you're new to the channel, subscribe. Turn the post notifications on and make sure you share the video too. Also note, I will be live for the entire Contender Series fight card tomorrow, Tuesday, at a special 7 p.m. Eastern time start. I'm excited. Contender Series picks each and every week throughout this 10-week stretch, as well as the fight companion. So I got you guys covered with this dwcs savagery incoming. So let's jump into fight number 1. We have Christopher Ewert versus Yuri Panferov. Now, both of them are familiar faces. Ewert was scheduled to fight Jackson McVeigh on short notice. Total botched weight cut. They just re-put him in this Contender Series spot against Panferov that he was originally scheduled for. Panferov actually fought against Therese Finney on Contender Series back in 2023, and he was kind of dominated on the ground and subbed up in that fight. Now, my pick for this one, I am going to take the side of Ewert. Panferov has a bit of a flashy kickboxing style, does have pretty dangerous dexterity. He rips pretty heavy head kicks, and I would say he's like relatively aggressive with a strong pressure-based offensive kicking output. He's going to stay consistent, trying to rip power shots. He'll look to bully some opponents to the ground, show his grappling strength and submission threat. But I will say, seeing him get manhandled a bit like the Therese Finney fight, it just brings to mind, okay, he's not a hyper elite wrestler, nor is he a hyper elite submission threat. Has ability in getting fights there, but to what degree? Very dependent upon matchup. Now, Panferov, I do think he's dangerous, and I think he's got a fun style, which is, I'm pretty sure, why the UFC was interested in bringing him back for another shot in Contender Series this season, especially with him getting back-to-back wins. On the opposite side, though, Ewert, I see him as more of the dog. Clean but brawl-heavy kickboxing style. Kind of has a bit high and tight stance with his, hands being closer to the face as he brings good relentless forward pressure. I believe in comparison of punching, I will rate Ewert as the better boxer. I would rate Panferov as the better kicker. But because of both guys liking to pressure forward, I think there is going to be a lot of boxing exchanges between the two of them. And I feel like Ewert is simply put the better boxer with better punch combinations. I think he also digs to the body more efficiently than Yuri Panferov. And I think he just has slightly faster hands. And though power for power, I would rate them comparable, I can see Ewert kind of drowning Panferov with his relentless dog tough style. Panferov maybe's landing big shots, but then Ewert's always firing back. He seems like one of those guys that when he eats, he's going to look to fire back harder. And I think that Ewert is able to put a high output on Panferov and probably win. A later stage TKO, I feel, is a possibility, but I'm also feeling like decision is not out of the realm of possibility either, with Ewert getting his hand raised. I like the toughness factor. I like the gritty style. I like his output more. I think Panferov is definitely a fast starter and a guy that scraps early as well. But even if Panferov finds success round 1, I would probably assume that the gas tank of Panferov takes more of a noticeable hit beyond the first 5 minutes. So I'm going to pick Ewert to get it done. Like I said, I think possibility of a KO here for sure for Ewert or a decision win. It's murky between the two calls because it really is, Ewert, yes, power, but last one was a decision win. He's got some KOs with body shots, and he does have decisions too. So he has a mixed bag of striking results where he shows good hands. And it's not like he can't grapple either. Panferov early is going to have some strength, and I wouldn't be shocked if he goes to the well with some wrestling on Ewert and gets him down in round 1. But I also would be hard-pressed to assume that Panferov is able to keep up some type of chain wrestling attack for 3 rounds. I think that would dwindle the tank as well, and I don't see him subbing Ewert. I'm going to pick the undefeated fighter, and I do think because it's Contender Series, I'll slightly lean towards a late finish in a war, but definitely a possibility of a back-and-forth decision that Ewert gets his hand raised in. Now, let's check out the fighters on the scales. I'll scroll up to the top actually here, and let's see what we're looking at. with these savages. Now, Yuri Panferov coming in looking pretty shredded up. He's looked a little fatter in the past, but looking good. Both guys on point with the weigh-ins. Thankfully, no issues on this one. 186 on both sides. And honestly, Panferov looking kind of slick, man. He's looking put together. His aura's rising as he gets into his later 20s. And then on the opposite side, Christopher Ewert looking shredded up. If you saw him weigh in for the Jackson McVeigh fight, or pre-fight, even the pictures that we saw, he looked chunky. He looked out of shape, and it made sense that he wasn't able to make the weight. I don't even know if he officially weighed in, thinking of it now, but I remember seeing ESPN picture of him and thinking, this guy looks fat. How the fuck is he making 85 on short notice? And he couldn't. But now he's got the abs. He's in shape for this one. He's had some time now. And I think that the UFC thankfully blessed him with this chance after pulling out of a fight and put him in a compromised spot. Face off between the two. Both guys look solid. I mean, nothing about the scales is going to change my mind. I actually anticipate a dog fight. You can see a little bit more thickness on the side of Panferov, which I think leads to earlier success in grappling strength, but a higher possibility of fading in the later stages. I got to pop out the Zin. Shout out to him. Yeah, Ewert the pick in a dog fight. I think he outdogs Yuri Panferov here. Let's check out the odds. Panferov is an underdog at plus 155. Ewert sits at minus 185, the favorite. Limited selections at the moment with props and over-unders for the card, unfortunately, but I will say over 1.5, fairly likely. Of course, it's Contender Series, and if you're betting on Contender Series, recognize this is the highest risk probability of all MMA betting because these guys tend to bring more aggressive styles than they normally would in other fights because they're literally trying out for the UFC in front of our eyes. I'm going to say over 1.5, I lean towards yes. Ewert to win at minus 185, I'll lean towards yes. I don't think it's an easy fight. I think there's competitive moments of back and forth, but I see Ewert with the better gas tank. I think his boxing does win him the fight as well, and in the later stages, he should win the key exchanges and be able to keep up a higher pace. And I'm going to say that Christopher Ewert remains undefeated, defeating Yuri Panferov, and I feel like a contract's coming his way. I think so, and I'm expecting a fun fight to start this card off. This one's going to be pretty damn good. The card has got me stoked. I won't lie. I'm even excited as hell for the next fight. Second fight on the card. Ignore Tapology's order. I got the official bout order. We got Radley De Silva versus George Mangos. It's a tough pick to make. Obviously, both guys have shown a lot of promise. I feel like Radley De Silva's got that man strength edge over George Mangos. Now, George does have a pretty capable ground game. Submission threat for sure, positional dominance, quick transition speed on the mat. And overall, I'd rate him as like a pretty strong wrestler with a solid stand-up game. Fights out of southpaw, has good hand speed, rips big punch combinations into range where he can time takedowns. I do feel like his right hook has a lot of pop on it. And listen, if he lands clean on the chin of a Radley De Silva, he could definitely do damage here, especially if he rocks him on the feet, then takes his ass down. Mangos' wrestling is an aspect of this fight that I think is going to be interesting because De Silva normally has a slight wrestling edge on a lot of the folks he's fought up in Canada. But to be fair, he's also been out grappled in certain moments, but then with his emphatic striking style is able to find success. If you watch Radley De Silva tape, you feel like this guy's just got something special. And to me, that type of specialness in striking is too much to overlook. Both high caliber talents. We got, the number 5 featherweight ranked in Canada versus the number 1 Australian featherweight going after it. Both of these guys, top prospects from their countries. And I'm excited to see how it happens. I like De Silva being 30 a bit more. He made his MMA debut back in like 2013, had a long layoff, found his way back to consistently fighting, and he looks fantastic. He's got really light bouncing striking. He actually has kind of like a Mauricio Hufi-like spinning kick knockout a couple fights back. And I don't know, man. His explosiveness with his hands seems like a legit problem for a lot of featherweights outside of the rankings in the UFC. He was in a tight heel hook against Brokenshire last time. The dude gritted his way out. So I definitely see De Silva with that fighter's mentality where even if he is in a terrible spot where his leg may be on the fucking fritz of being ripped in half, like the heel hook was deep, he still fights out of it. He doesn't tap. He could have torn up his knee from that. Obviously, it doesn't seem like he did because that fight was, 6 months ago. And if he tore his shit up, I'm sure he'd be out longer. does have kind of freaky flexibility to be able to survive those types of heel hooks. And then he went on to beat the shit out of Brokenshire, violently bust him open, and then strangle the hell out of him. It looked like a damn murder scene, to be honest with you. I feel like Radley De Silva has this smooth, explosive striking that I consider to be like a potential human highlight reel to keep your eyes on here. With the man strength factor, I think his grappling's pretty good. And even though I think George Mongo's might be a solid wrestler earlier and maybe a bit more of a takedown threat initially, as the fight wears on, I think Radley De Silva is going to find a lot of big shots on the feet. I could see him scrambling to top position. I could see him even taking George Mongo's down. Mongo's is very young at just nearly 22 years of age. He's a few days removed from being 22. Both guys, 7-0 on one side, 7-1, but, nice 7-fight win streak for De Silva as well. And like his 2013 career versus now, it feels like a whole different career for him with like 5 years off that he took. I feel like De Silva can win this thing. He looks special, man. I like his style a ton. Explosive striking, but precise striking, smooth on the feet, long. And I feel like he's going to have that man strength edge that's just way too much for me to overlook. I cannot pick a guy who's like 22 years old against a prospect in Radley De Silva that looks this good. George Mongo's has a bright future, and I'm sure he's going to be back for another shot on Contender Series, but I think he gets denied this time. I feel like De Silva's going to win in a hard fight. I could see Mongo's taking the first, and then De Silva tuning him up on the feet come round two, even getting top position as well, winning some grappling exchanges, doing some damage on the feet. Method of victory, I'm leaning towards a De Silva action-packed decision, especially because Mongo's is undefeated, but there's a possibility that De Silva could time some type of violent shot. I think the guy's a special talent, and to be fair, though he was locked in a tight heel hook his last fight, he's got a nasty submission game as well. The guy has won 3 fights by submission, but his striking is dangerous. I'm telling you, I know he's only got 1 knockout win, but it's a spinning heel kick. He has power. He has elusive striking. He has dangerous striking, and he does start quick. I think him and Mongo's delivering a back and forth fight, but I feel like De Silva, being a bit older, is going to end up having the edge. Obviously, fight-wise, not more experience, but, in the training room, I feel like being 9 years older and still primed AF and someone to watch at 30, I just feel like he's, in his prime now, whereas George Mongo's prime is forthcoming. So I'm going to say that De Silva beats the prospect in a battle of prospects, but the younger prospect, and I think he gets it done. Probably a hard-fought decision here. There's Radley De Silva looking pretty shredded up on the scales. To be honest, looks kind of like a Brazilian Jordan Williams who knocked out RoboCop years ago on the Contender Series. On the other side, Mongo's looking in shape. Respectable face-off between the two of them. Height is similar. Silva looks a little bit taller, tad bit, but nothing really to note. I would say both guys are prepared for a 3-round war, and I think it lives up to it. I just think De Silva, little more dangerous in the striking, should be faster on the feet and more explosive. Being 9 years older, I think man strength's a real thing here. And I think it's a little bit too soon for George Mongo's in this type of matchup because De Silva, he really impressed me watching tape. Not that Mongo's didn't. I think Mongo's looked like a beast on the ground. It's just I don't see him running through De Silva on the mat. And I don't think he's chain wrestling him for 3 rounds. And I think he's caught up in the striking. I think he's getting tuned up on the feet a bit. So I'm going to go with De Silva to win. He's a plus 115 underdog. At open, he was at plus 250. Obviously, a lot of hype on Mongo's right now. A lot of hype on Australian MMA right now, to be fair. Minus 145 on the other side for Mongo's to get it done. Let's see what the over-unders look like. Over 1.5, minus 205. It's another one. I lean towards yes on the over 1.5, but definitely there's a danger threat of De Silva with explosive power. Though Mongo's can crack on the feet, I just think De Silva's going to look a lot faster. Mongo's does have 2 KO wins, 5 submissions. He's been a finisher throughout his career. Could see this as the first one that he ends up into the later stages with, and I feel like De Silva's going to do enough to take it. I'm thinking possibility of a finish is there, but I do lean towards a back-and-forth war into a decision. Nonetheless, I'm going to go with Radley De Silva to land some massive, significant shots and take it. You don't have to prop bet anything. If you're throwing money on this fight, I like the De Silva dog side to pull through. I have to favor a primed prospect that looks fantastic at 30 as opposed to a prospect that looks real good but is only 21. He's still a young cat, man. Still a young guy. Good wins, though. I mean, listen, he's done great in Hex. He's a champion outside of, the high levels of MMA. Not like he's a fucking, UFC or Bellator guy coming in with championship pedigree, but being a champ over in Australia is no joke. There's a lot of high-level guys coming from Aus right now, and I think Mongo's is going to be one of them, but I think Radley De Silva gives him his first loss as a pro, and I'm going to go with the Canadian-Brazilian to handle business here. I'm picking him, and yeah, I'm pretty damn excited for this fight. This could end up being one of those crazy battles of prospects where both guys really are potentially getting a contract. Next fight on the card, we got Murtaza Talha versus Baysangar Susurkaev. I like Susurkaev. This is actually the featured fight of the night. And I feel like with Talha, I don't rate him that high. He had a good back and forth fight up in weight against Adolfo Bellato where he was broken and knocked out in the second round. But he did land a nasty elbow on the inside, and he was still cracking with Bellato in round number 1. But then, like, he goes and fights an 0-4 fighter as his get back fight. Like, I think that's a red flag. Like, okay, nearly 2 years ago against Bellato, and now you're going to fight a guy who's 0-4 as a pro, and then you're going to get another shot on Contender Series. I know that Susurkaev is coming in on short notice. He's actually replacing Damian Pinas here, who was originally scheduled to fight Talha. But Susurkaev's a problem right now. To be fair, he's one of those guys that you could have just brought right into the UFC. Susurkaev is a guy that I think we need to watch right now. Like I'm talking about, it seems like he has top 10 potential. Watch his striking. Relaxed striking flow. His relaxation, it reminds me of almost a prime Gegard Mousasi with how calm he is inside of the octagon. Very technically sound striking skill set, kind of a sniper from the outside, but a loose sniper who can also calmly enter the range and rip multi-shot combinations together, which like such effortless slickness that he has. It's a very unique skill set. I'm telling you, this kid seems to be one to watch right now. I really feel like he overall is going to have edges over Talha. Obviously, Talha was fighting at 205, now cutting down to 185. He was kind of fast at 205, I guess. He has like good striking blitzes, has a good ability to rip shots in close range and explode and, you know, kind of make it like a dirty dog fight as he's throwing wild shots. But on the opposite side, it's like kind of the contrary style to that. It's a guy that just like calmly drowns you and picks you apart and finds counters and lands with precision, who's good from all ranges, who honestly has very good grappling defense and an ability to reverse positions nicely. He uses the whizzer so well to end up countering takedowns and even ending up in dominant positions himself. The kid is special. I'm telling you, he's got a nasty straight right. He even likes throwing some flying knees out there. I think Talha is probably going to come out fast round 1. I'm going to say that Susurkaev is able to match the volume and then land cleaner shots. I think Susurkaev is going to end up knocking him out. I think he's going to overwhelm him. His striking's too smooth. Talha's too much of a brawler. I have to go with clean and crisp striking technique. I don't care if it's short notice, man. Susurkaev undefeated right now as a professional at 8-0, and he seems like a guy that can make waves in the UFC. 24 years of age. I'm telling you, this guy's good. Battle of Dagestan-born fighters as well, even though Talha representing Bahrain. A lot of the guys over there are from Dagestan. Susurkaev, though, coming out of Chechnya, as like, you know, where he's training at, but he is Dagestan blood. And you can see it in the way he defends takedowns, in his precision, his calmness, his accuracy in his strikings, his multi-shot combinations. He'll walk with like the hands low. He'll slip his way out of shots and then just sting together multiple combinations. And then I see Talha forced on the retreat, just getting eaten alive here. Talha cannot match the technicality. To be fair, Talha seemed like a bit of an asshole when he fought Sazignani. He's a few fights back. Outside of the UFC, he hit an armbar and then like threw his mouthpiece at him, tried to get in his face. He like pushed him after subbing him. I don't know. I hate those D-bag moves by guys. And I think Talha still got karma coming his way. And then you fight an 0-4 guy as your get back fight. That's disrespectful. It was flagged by Tapology. It's not like he fought some 0-4 savage, bro. Tapology already flagged this fight. Okay. And it should be flagged. It counts on his pro record. Yeah. But at the end of the day, if you are 6-1 and a former Contender Series fighter, you should not be fighting people that are 0-4. You should not be fighting people with 0 wins regardless. It could be a debut. You should not be fighting low-level opposition. You shouldn't even be fighting guys with losing records. You should be taking on decent opposition. Like Susurkaev last time, this 4-1 dude that he fought was tough. And he beat the fuck out of him and absolutely destroyed him. But like, respect to the dude. sitting in there and trying, you know? And like Susurkaev before that beats an 8-3 dude. He picked this dude apart, Shane Sobanovsky, who actually is a gritty dude and like can wrestle a bit, has some solid pressure, like really tried hard in the fight and didn't ever quit. But I don't think it matters, man. Susurkaev is just too slick, too clean, too dangerous. Susurkaev, violence incoming. I'm predicting a knockout win for the side of Susurkaev. There is Talha on the scale. I will give him credit. At 185, he looks ripped up. Has that 1,000-yard stare, though. He kind of creeps me out a little bit. Wow, how intensely he's staring across. The Ginger Dagestani trying to represent is looking in shape for sure after, he had a little more fat on him up at 205. And then we just got Susurkaev looking calm, cool, collected. I'm telling you, he's a problem. There's the face-off between the two. Susurkaev gives me that Umar Nurmagomedov, Islam Makhachev vibe, like even Usman Nurmagomedov, like that energy. I don't know. He has this slickness to him. He has this confidence about him. I think that Susurkaev is a very special fighter, and I'm going to say that he makes this fight. I don't want to say it looks easy because Talha's a dog for sure, but Talha's going to be too slow, man. Dropping down in weight, the lighter man's skills a factor, and like Susurkaev finishes people, and I think he's going to do immense damage to Talha on this one, and I think he's knocking him out. So Susurkaev at -300. It opened up at 5-1. I think it should be lock city here. I know some people are going to be looking to chase with Talha plus 240, but I just think he's going to get shown levels, man. I don't think he can match this kid at all, and I think he's going to get put away. Under 2.5, -225. I lean towards yes on the under. I feel like Talha, even though he's at 185, like he has such like an explosive blitz that he likes to put together in round one. I see the gas tank just zapping more. And I think like round 2 or 3, Susurkaev is TKOing him. I'm going Susurkaev, violence, impressive win. He's getting a fucking contract. My God, I'm telling you right now, this kid is one to keep an eye on. The tape tells me special talent. Next fight, co-main event. We got Jimmy Drago versus Ty Miller. This fight was a hard pick, probably harder than the bunch, to be honest. Maybe, I don't know. The Contender Series is always hard picks, but I like Jimmy Drago. I really do. He's an ex-heroin addict, actually. Turned to fighting, and the guy can crack on the feet, and he's got a lot of grit. But Ty Miller's a smooth boxer. Oh, I feel torn. And 63% of Tapology also picking Miller. I literally said to myself, just make a pick on the fly on live. I think I'm going to go with the schooled boxing of Miller, but I worry about it. I'm going to go with the schooled boxing and the length of Miller, but I worry about it. Miller has one pro boxing fight, so it's not like he's got a ton of pro fights, but he's got boxing in the game. He's got long arms. He has really good straight shots and like just very good with his feint game. Overall, his boxing chops just show me that he is well schooled in that area. And he does seem to have some grit factor to him as well. Some grappling defense. Obviously, earlier in his career, has had some, competitive fights, but still found his way to winning. His last fight was unfortunately a no contest. To be honest, that dude got saved. He was on his way to get knocked out. It was Barros. Barros did take him down a bit and have some grappling success early, but Barros kind of like a, jacked up, potentially roided up Brazilian BJJ black belt. Miller's still able to get to his feet, and like after half the round starts just picking him apart and like showing him levels, man. Drago's a gamer though, man. I've really like making a pick here. It's like, yeah, I'm going Miller, but I would not bet Miller. There's almost more of an upside to betting the underdog in Drago. Drago is a pretty dangerous kickboxer with a really nice lead left hook. He's precise, accurate with solid hand speed and aggressiveness. He's got a good kicking ability as well. His last fight, he was beating the fuck out of his opponent. And then accidental head clash leads to the cut, ends up getting his opponent saved. Both these guys coming off a no contest, but he was beating Junior Melo's ass in that one. Jimmy Drago is exactly what the UFC is looking for with this, as is Ty Miller, to be honest with you. Drago relentless, tough as hell. I'm telling you, man, these ex-addicts, like we've seen it with Jared Gordon, the chins are fucking stone. There's zero quit in him. I don't think he's wilting after Ty Miller's touching him. So Miller's got to be ready for a hard 3 rounds. I anticipate that he will be. I think he's going to be a little sharper. I think he's going to end up in top position more often than not. I think he's going to win the key striking exchanges, but I'm sure that Drago is landing some emphatic shots and going to have some big moments, and I think he's pushing Ty Miller to the fucking brink. I don't know what the over looks like in this fight. I didn't see it available. I checked online and I couldn't find it. And if you guys know what it is, over 1.5, I'm giving it a thumbs up. Possibility of over 2.5 too, because I think Drago is going to be game. It's just, I think Miller a little sharper could pull through, but round number 3, Miller is going to slow down a bit. And if Drago could put it on him, maybe drag him to the ground, it's anybody's fight. Excuse me. It's anybody's fight here. I really feel like this is a 50-50 matchup, and seeing that Miller's a bit of a favorite, it like makes me want to jump the dog side, but I don't know, man. Let's check the scales. Let's see. All right, we got Drago looking shredded up on the scale, ready to go. And we got Miller looking pretty solid as well. Kind of gives me a Ignacio Bahamondes vibe. Good amount taller. I'm going to favor the boxing of Miller, but I'm going to say Drago pushes it. And if Miller doesn't have the grit factor, which I'm going to anticipate that he does, and I think he wins a hard-fought decision, he doesn't have the grit factor, a later stage finish could be live for Drago, or him just stealing the second or third round. I don't think it's crazy to consider betting the side of Drago against the pick, but I really like Miller's boxing sharpness. I think he picks his shots nicely. He's undefeated right now. I feel like he's going to be a bit better. Drago's got all the grit in the fucking world, but technique-wise, I favor Miller, and I'm not sold that Drago is just able to out-grapple him. And if we're into the striking, Drago could have big explosive moments, but I think Miller's landing cleaner shots. He has a fantastic 1-2 and truly has pro boxing level hands, at least on like a mid-level. Let's look at the betting lines for this fight. Plus 150 on Drago, minus 180 on Miller. Let's reload the page and let's see if we have an over available. Not available. And I checked some other betting sites. I don't know. Maybe let me know in the comments if you see it. But I do think over 1.5 live, possibly over 2.5. I'm going to lean towards Miller to win it in a dogfight. But my God. Drago's good, man. Drago's game. It definitely ain't no minus 230. This is a pick'ems fight. You like Miller should not be minus 180. To be fair, like I see this as a minus 115, minus 110 on both sides style of matchup here. I'm going to say Miller does enough to win it with his technicality. I think his striking from distance could be on point. I feel like he's going to look sharp. I feel like he's going to outbox Drago, but I think Drago's going to have big moments. I think he's going to push the pace. I think he's going to try to grapple at some point. I think it's a great back and forth fight. Both guys delivering a violent matchup. Potentially, this could end up being the fight of the card here. And I'm even going to go as far as to say maybe that both guys are getting contracts. I don't know with Drago being 30, maybe not. Miller being 25. I'm going to go Miller, but you can hear my voice of worry. Like, I see this as a 50-50. You got to make a pick on one side. Could Drago win as a dog? Yes. If you're betting Drago, am I telling you not to? No. I think that if he can steal the second and third round, he can get a gritty decision. I feel like Miller does have solid gas, but he will slow down come round 2 or 3, and Drago's big shots over the top could then become more effective. So we'll go with Miller, but definitely a worrisome pick on this one in what I would consider a 50-50 fight. Next fight, main event of the evening. If you guys are watching and enjoying the Contender Series breakdown, make sure you guys hit that like button. And if it's your first time on the channel, make sure you subscribe too. We got Ilian Bouafia versus Nemius Santana. I'm going to go with Bouafia. Oh, real quick, 5'10" is bullshit. Santana is 6'2". That's a complete mismark by Tapology. Just something that I had to note to you guys now. Bouafia is accurate and slick, man. It's like he's got that technical striking flow down. 6'5", which is incredibly tall for middleweight. Also has good speed on him and a light bounce to his style. Training partner of Nasruddin Imavov, and you can 100% see the influence Imavov has in his style. I believe Bouafia is going to be a little bit slicker with his straight shots. He's got better straight punch. He's got a real stiff jab. He's got a pretty nasty straight left that follows. Picks his shots nicely. Has KO power. Has an ability to win decisions if need be. Has grappling ability too. Physicality seems there pretty much, I would say. But on the opposite side, I gotta sing some praises for Santana because the dude is like the traditionalist Brazilian Muay Thai pressure fighter. He has strong, explosive blitzes into close range with real heavy hooks in close, and he throws barrages of shots and he'll overwhelm people. He makes them break, really, and he's got real power in his hands too. Watch his last fight. He's putting his hands down, walking at his opponent. At one point, he drawed with that opponent. It's crazy how bad he beat him in the rematch. Just beat the shit out of him. I would say he's kind of a savage and definitely a style that I enjoy watching. He's a national Brazilian Muay Thai champion. You can see the Brazilian Muay Thai base to it, man. Has that technical flow. But with that technical flow, one key difference between the two with Bouafia, with Ilian, he has better straight shots and he has a better bladed stance, which I think allows for better lateral movement, better jabs, better straights, better even potential kicks from distance. Santana is that power bomber that's going to close that gap and make it a war. But in closing the gap in a reckless manner, in which he seems to like to, because he has high confidence in his explosiveness, and I'm assuming his chin as well, Orfia's live to catch him with big counter shots. And I can see Santana having a big barrage early on, throwing just heavy, thunderous shots, and then end up seeing him getting caught because he's a little bit reckless. He's training with Talha Teixeira. I saw him training with Kevin Vallejo. So he's got good guys around him that he's working with. And I'm telling you, Santana is really nice. Santana, he's a UFC potential prospect as well. There's a lot of good matchups. Like, I'm telling you right now, Santana versus Ewert, I think I might be picking Santana. Santana versus Panferov, I'm going Santana. But Bouafia at 6'5", technical striking flow is very much there. He's an Aries FC prospect. They're building him into something over there, now bringing him to the UFC, 6-0. I just think he's a little too sharp and technical. I tend to favor the guys that have more kickboxing based styles as opposed to Muay Thai styles. Kickboxing tends to translate a little bit better to mixed martial arts. You are more able to move laterally, better with your boxing normally. But Santana's got a big barrage. And if Bouafia is caught up in close range towards the cage, Santana could bomb on him with wild hooks. And if they land, they could drop him. They could hurt him. But I'm going to say that slickness is the difference maker. I pick Bouafia to win. Hard fight. He's live to knock Santana out, definitely with a counter. I mean, looking at Santana's game, though, I mean, dude seems to have a strong chin. We don't know against this level of matchup. Bouafia's got 5 KOs with 1 decision. I do lean towards Bouafia catching Santana as Santana kind of recklessly closes the gap. But if Santana is blessed with one of those freaky chins where he can just eat all day and he doesn't have that James Colossus Thompson glass slipper jaw, there's a possibility that he's walking down Bouafia in a back and forth dogfight and ends up stealing a big upset here, or maybe even a later stage KO. A comparison could be like Kennedy and Nzechukwu versus Carlos Ulberg type of situation. So I'm going to go Bouafia. He should be better. He should be more technically sound. He should be sharper, but Santana's a fucking monster. That's what I'll tell you. I love this fight. Really, both guys seem to have UFC potential. Let's check them out on the scale. Santana looking pretty jacked up. Looks in shape for sure. Ready for this spot. And then you see Bouafia on the other side, shredded to the fucking gills. More of a lanky build. You see the face-to-face. Obviously, Bouafia, you know, keeping his head down a bit. But gonna have that range advantage. I'm assuming so. We don't have the official reach stats. 76 inches, pretty long for the 6'2" Santana. He got some long arms as well, and he's definitely got broad shoulders. But I think distance striking, I favor Bouafia, and I think Santana comes out like a wild man and gets caught with some key counters, and I think he's going to end up getting knocked out. I think he'll give a good, gutsy fight, and I hope they bring him back on Contender Series again because I really enjoyed watching tape on him, but I just have to go with the Bouafia prospect. I think he's too sharp. I think he's too technically sound, and I'm going to favor technicality over savage dog pressure brawling Brazilian Muay Thai. So Bouafia the pick, but minus 220, he might make you sweat because he might get caught. Opened up at 5-1. A lot of love has come down on Santana as a dog, and I see why. I definitely see why. He's fun to watch, and he's relentless, but Bouafia too technical. I'm going with technique over everything here. No overs available. Doesn't really matter. I think Bouafia should be able to secure a knockout with some key counter shots on the absolute bomber in Santana. This fight could end up being crazy. Definitely at minus 220. Still a scary bet. At 5-1, that's insane. I see why people went the other side. Yeah, but I'll go Bouafia to get the hand raised in a pretty crazy back and forth fight. And I think he could end up getting the counter shot KO over Santana, the ballistic Brazilian bomber, because that's really what he is. He's the Brazilian bomber versus the slick technician in Bouafia. And I'm going to favor the technical side with knockout ability to find the key counter shot and to find the KO. Now, those are my predictions for Dana White's Contender Series week number 1 of 2025. I do want to talk some parlays. Now, I've said this every season I've covered, okay? I've said, hey, you betting on Contender Series? Clench your fucking pearls. You should be nervous because there are a lot of high stakes and highly competitive fights on this card that make parlays harder than they normally are. So let's say you wanted to throw somebody in. I think Susurkaev should be a lock here. I think he breaks Talha. I think so. But again, bet at your own fucking risk. It's Contender Series. It's risky enough betting UFC where I've seen double-digit fights of all these guys. How many have we seen? 3 to 4 of a lot of these dudes? On the other side, who's the next one? Something tells me Ewert, plus 105. I think these two hit. I do. But still very scary. I don't know what the over is going to look like, but Drago, Ty Miller, over 1.5 rounds. I'm telling you, Drago, he got that X-addict durability. I don't know what the line's going to be, but an over 1.5 and Susurkaev seems like another lock parlay. I like that one a lot. You want to put an underdog in, Radley De Silva to man strength it, plus 180 for these two. And then Bouafia at the top, maybe you're betting him. It's plus 302, but it's nerve-wracking. At minus 230, it's a little wider than I like. A fight, I think he's more like minus 170 would make more sense. But I think he can win. You like Ewert as well? Okay, plus 518. And then an over 1.5 here if available. Could be a D-gen parlay. You're betting on everything, but you're shitting the fucking bricks and shit, man. I'm nervous for you. I'm nervous for those, man. For me, Susurkaev and the over in Drago, Ty Miller. Over 1.5 is going to be the call. I hope the over 1.5 is going to be available because I love that 2-leg parlay. Over 2.5, possible, but definitely a lot sweatier. Throwing a dog like Radley De Silva in, I do think he gets the win, but probably something you could more so consider straight betting. Bouafia, he is live to get caught by Santana's bombs, so I don't like the confidence as much with him here. Obviously, I think Ewert can find a way, so maybe this 3-leg at plus 331, maybe you add the over in the Miller-Drago fight as well. But again, you want to take an underdog out. You're not crazy to just go Susurkaev Ewert to pull through. I think this one could end up hitting. I think Ewert outworks Panferov, but Panferov's in shape. So at the end of the day, value-wise, you could go Susurkaev with De Silva at plus 180, or maybe you want to just say, fuck it all. I want Susurkaev, who I think is a special talent, and you also believe in the over 1.5 here with Drago and Miller, and I think that one could be pretty money. That's my magical 2-leg. If I had to give you like a lock city for this one, I like that more, but if you have to go straight fighter picks, say Ewert, obviously Bouafia live to find it. You could go Bouafia, Susurkaev, but at minus 110, the value is not as good as the risk factor with Bouafia taking on a power hitter like Santana. But I will say, I do feel confident that these two end up hitting. Bouafia might have to go through some fire with a bomber in Santana, but I could see Santana start to slow after big barrages in round 1 and 2, and then end up getting knocked out in the third because he is available for counter shots with his reckless style. So do with that information as you wish, and I wish the over 1.5 was available here so we could really make it happen. Let's assume an over 1.5 is at minus 185. It would look something like that, but who's to say for sure? Bet the Contender Series intelligently, guys, all right? That's my best advice to you. Don't blindly tail. Do your own research. See where your research lines up with mine so we can put both our brains together and see where we link up on things. I'm excited as hell to be back covering Contender Series. This feels like 10 weeks of Christmas for me. As an MMA fan, this is like the best time of the year. So keep it locked in. I'll have the predictions every single Monday with the weigh-in show style that I'll be bringing. And then the Fight Companion going down tomorrow, Tuesday. Special 7 p.m. Eastern time start. But for every other episode, it's going to be 8 p.m. Eastern time. Thanks for watching, everybody. Hit the likes. Hit the subscribe if you're new. Turn on the damn post notifications. You don't want to miss a video or a live stream. I'm doing content every single day of the week. So keep it locked in with your boy, especially if you just subscribe. You don't want to miss the Fight Companion. You want to tune into the live reaction, all right? Let me know in the comments what you thought of the picks. I want to hear the people's picks. I want to see what sides are you guys on. You got any crazy dog that you think I'm not seeing? Are you in alignment with my calls? I want to hear from the masses, all right? So let me know in the comments. If you got nothing to say in the comments, but you just enjoy the content, as always, W in the chat to boost the algorithm for your boy. UFC 319 fight week. I'm giddy. I'm excited. If you haven't seen my picks for that, you definitely should. I'll link them up in the description. Thanks, guys. See you in the next one. Much love. Peace out.